Hey everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Have you ever seen a crack in the sidewalk and wondered how it got there? Well, imagine if that crack wasn't just on the sidewalk, but stretched for miles and miles, all across a huge country. Today we're going on an adventure to solve a real-life mystery, the mysterious cracks appearing all over Canada, from the thundering waterfalls of Niagara all the way to the icy lands of Nunavut. So, what are we talking about? Geologists, who are like detectives for the Earth, have discovered a giant crack system. This isn't just one crack, but a whole network of them like a spider web hidden deep beneath our feet. This system is called the Niagara-Nunavut Rift System. A rift is just a fancy word for a place where the Earth's crust, the hard outer shell of our planet, is being pulled apart. Think of it like stretching a piece of taffy. If you pull it too far, it starts to get thin in the middle and eventually breaks. That's kind of what's happening to the ground under Canada, but super slowly. This giant crack system is absolutely massive. It starts way down south near Niagara Falls, that famous spot with all the water, and it runs all the way up north, through Ontario and Quebec, and ends in the Arctic, in a place called Nunavut. That's a distance of over 2,000 kilometers. To put that in perspective, that's like driving in a car for a whole day and night without stopping. And this crack is deep too, going down several kilometers into the Earth's crust. It's a hidden giant that scientists are just now beginning to understand. But wait, if there's a giant crack under Canada, why isn't the country splitting in two? And why can't we see it when we're walking around? That's the really cool part of the mystery. This all happened a very long time ago. We're talking about 600 million years ago. Back then, the Earth looked totally different. The land that would become North America was part of a giant supercontinent called Rodinia. Imagine all the countries of the world squished together into one big island. Around that time, this supercontinent started to break apart. It was like a giant puzzle slowly coming undone. The forces pulling the land were so strong that they started to create these huge cracks, or rifts. The Niagara-Nunavut Rift System was one of them. For a while it looked like North America might actually split right down the middle. But then, for reasons scientists are still trying to figure out, the stretching stopped. The great breakup of Rodinia happened somewhere else, and our part of the continent stayed together. Phew, that was a close one. The crack was still there, but it became what scientists call a failed rift. It was a crack that started but never finished the job. Over millions and millions of years, this giant scar on the Earth was buried. Rivers carried sand and mud. Glaciers scraped over the land, and layers of rock piled up on top of it. The crack was hidden, like a secret message buried deep underground, waiting to be found. And that's where our modern-day Earth detectives come in. So how did scientists even find this giant hidden crack? They couldn't just dig a super deep hole. Instead, they used amazing technology. One of the main tools they use is called seismic imaging. It's kind of like giving the Earth an ultrasound, the same way a doctor might look at a baby before it's born. Scientists create small, controlled vibrations on the surface, maybe from a special kind of truck that thumps the ground. These vibrations travel down into the Earth as waves, and when they hit different types of rock, they bounce back up. Special sensors, like microphones for the Earth, listen for these echoes. By measuring how long it takes for the waves to come back and how strong they are, scientists can create a picture of what's underground. And when they did this across Canada, they saw something strange. They saw a line where the rocks were different, where they were broken and jumbled. It was like finding an old, healed-up wound deep inside the Earth. They also used gravity and magnetic sensors. You see, different types of rock have slightly different magnetic fields and pull on gravity in different ways. By flying over the country with special planes that can measure these tiny changes, they were able to map out the path of this ancient rift, even though it was buried miles deep. It was like following a trail of breadcrumbs left behind millions of years ago. Now you might be thinking, okay, a 600-million-year-old crack is cool, but does it matter today? The answer is a huge yes. Even though this rift failed, it didn't just disappear. It left a permanent mark on the landscape, and it still affects Canada in some surprising ways. For one thing, these ancient cracks are zones of weakness in the Earth's crust. Think about a piece of paper that you've folded and unfolded many times. It's much easier to tear it along that fold, right? It's the same with the Earth's crust. Even today, North America is being slowly pushed and pulled by giant tectonic plates moving around the globe. All that stress has to go somewhere, and it often finds the weakest spots to release energy. And where are some of the weakest spots? You guessed it. Along old, failed rifts like the Niagara-Nunavut system. This is why some of Canada's biggest earthquakes don't happen on the west coast where everyone expects them, but happen right in the middle of the continent in places like Quebec and Ontario, right along the path of this ancient crack. These aren't just tiny little rumbles. Some major historical earthquakes have been linked to this hidden system. It's like an old injury that can still cause pain every once in a while. But it's not all about earthquakes. This ancient crack system has also given Canada some incredible gifts. When the rift was forming, hot molten rock from deep within the earth called magma tried to push its way up through the cracks. This magma was like a soup full of different elements. As it cooled down, it left behind amazing treasures, valuable minerals, and metals. We're talking about things like nickel, copper, and platinum. Many of Canada's most important mines, which provide jobs for thousands of people and materials we use every day in our phones, cars, and buildings, are located right along this ancient rift zone. The weakness in the crust that was created so long ago became the perfect place for these valuable deposits to form. So, in a way, this giant crack is like a hidden treasure map. So, what happens next in this unfolding mystery? Scientists are still working hard to learn more. They are using even more advanced technology to get a clearer picture of the rift. They want to understand exactly why it stopped opening up. Was it a change in the direction the plates were moving? Did it just run out of steam? Answering these questions can help us understand how continents form and break apart, which is one of the biggest puzzles in geology. They also want to get better at predicting where earthquakes might happen along the rift. By mapping out all the little faults and weak spots within the bigger system, they can help cities and towns in the area be better prepared. This means building stronger buildings and having better emergency plans. It's all about using our knowledge of the past to stay safe in the future. And of course, mining companies are very interested too. By understanding the rift's structure, they can find new places to look for valuable minerals, helping Canada's economy. This story of the Niagara-Nunavut Rift is so amazing because it shows us that the ground beneath our feet is not as solid and boring as it looks. It has a dramatic, exciting history filled with continents crashing together and tearing apart. It reminds us that the Earth is a living, breathing planet that is constantly changing, even if those changes happen over millions of years. The clues to its past are all around us and hidden deep below us, just waiting for curious minds to find them. So the next time you're in Ontario or Quebec, maybe looking at the beautiful lakes or the rolling hills, take a moment to think about what's deep, deep under your feet. You might be standing right on top of a 600-million-year-old scar that stretches for thousands of kilometers, a silent giant that has shaped Canada's past, present, and future. It's a true Canadian mystery, and the adventure to solve it is just beginning. Thanks so much for joining me on this incredible journey deep into the Earth. If you thought this story was as cool as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next adventure. Let me know in the comments what you found most surprising about Canada's giant crack. Until next time, stay curious.